Once upon a time, there was a very beautiful girl named Cinderella. Unfortunately, her mother died, and her father married another woman. Now Cinderella was living with her stepmother and her two stepsisters. They did not treat Cinderella well. Her stepmother made her do all the chores in the house. She had to work throughout the day, sweeping, cooking, washing, and so on. Even then, they did not give enough food to Cinderella. Her clothes were also dirty and torn. The stepmother and her daughters lived in comfort and luxury, but Cinderella had to sleep in the kitchen, which was her room. One day, her stepmother brought beautiful gowns for her daughters. She had come to know that the prince had invited them all to the royal palace on a special occasion. Cinderella, too, was keen to attend the royal ceremony, but did not have a nice dress, so she was very sad. The stepmother got ready to go with her daughters. She said to Cinderella, "Cinderella, keep our beds ready to sleep in and finish all the work. Don't take rest, otherwise you know what will happen." Now Cinderella was left alone and sad at home. Suddenly, a fairy appeared with a flash. The fairy said to Cinderella, "Get up. I have come here to help you. I know you want to go to the palace." "But how can I? I do not have a good dress," said Cinderella sadly. The fairy said, "Everything will be all right. I need some things to get you ready. Bring a big pumpkin and 7 rats." Cinderella rushed to the garden and brought a pumpkin and 7 rats. The fairy smiled and said, "That's good. Now watch the miracle." She waved her magic wand, and the pumpkin turned into a chariot, and 6 of the rats changed into horses, and 1 as the driver of the chariot. She was no longer in a dirty dress. She was now in a splendid dress, and was looking like a princess. She was amazed and couldn't believe her eyes. Seeing Cinderella eager, the fairy said to her, "Now do not wait. Go and sit in the chariot." Cinderella sat in the chariot and thanked the fairy. The fairy said, "Go and enjoy the ceremony, but be aware of the time. At any cost, you have to come back by 12, otherwise everything will change back to its original form." Cinderella said, "I will take care of the time." Her chariot stopped at the gate of the palace. She quickly went inside and joined the ceremony. As soon as she entered the room, all eyes turned to her. All were surprised at her beauty and began to whisper about her. The stepmother and her daughters were unable to recognize her. When the prince saw Cinderella, he was charmed by her beauty. He asked her to dance with him. Cinderella agreed and began to dance with the prince. Seeing her dance with the prince, all the other girls felt jealous of Cinderella. The prince asked her, "Who are you and where are you from?" Cinderella ignored the question and said, "It should not make any difference to you as to who I am or where I am from. Let's enjoy the function. Moreover, I don't think that we shall ever meet again." "But I hope that we will," said the prince. Cinderella was so lost in the dance and talking that she forgot the fairy's warning about the time. Suddenly, she looked at the clock. It was about to strike 12. She remembered the fairy's warning and rushed out of the palace without saying anything to the prince. But in a hurry, she left one of her shoes on the steps. The prince tried to follow her, but she had already left. He picked up the shoe of Cinderella. Then he called his minister and said, "Take this shoe and search for the girl to whom it belongs. I will marry the girl whose foot fits the shoe. Remember, do not come back without looking for the girl." Next day the minister went door to door in search of the girl. He reached the house of Cinderella. Her stepsisters tried the shoe, but it did not fit their feet. Then her stepmother asked Cinderella to try her luck to insult her. Cinderella tried on the shoe. To everyone's surprise, it fit her foot. The minister was taken aback. Her stepmother said, "Oh, there must be something wrong. This girl would never suit the prince. See her face and dress. She looks as though she is coming from the pile of ashes. Tell the prince to marry either of my daughters." Suddenly the fairy appeared. She said in anger, "You do not have any pity for this girl?" Saying so, the fairy waved her magic wand, and Cinderella looked like a princess in the beautiful dress. The stepmother and her daughters had to eat a humble pie. The minister took Cinderella to the palace. Seeing Cinderella in the palace, the prince was very happy. They got married and lived happily ever after.